For some people, one of the most difficult parts of planning their wedding is choosing the wedding party. And I have a few tips that I found that I think will be helpful for when it comes my turn to choose the wedding party, and I'd like to share them in this video. So the first tip that I have is to choose responsible people. The roles that they're going to be asked to fill as being part of the wedding party are really important to you and the groom. And so it's important to make sure the people you choose are going to be able to fulfill those responsibilities, such as calling and making appointments, or dealing with budget things and finances, and being someone that you trust to help make the decisions that you need to, as far as like flowers and the cake. And there's just so many different things that choosing people that you trust and who are responsible and who will be that person that you can lean upon to help you make those decisions is important. So if you have somebody that maybe they are more of a jokester and it's hard for them to be serious, or they're just not really good at keeping obligations or showing up to places on time or things like that, you may want to second guess having them as part of your wedding party. The second tip that I have is not to choose out of obligation. And I have been a part of a wedding quite a few years ago, and honestly I'm not as close to that person that asked me to be in their wedding now, and so it just wouldn't seem right for me to ask them to be in my wedding, just because we haven't really talked a whole lot, and just because I was in hers doesn't mean that I need to have her in mine. So don't choose just because somebody asked you to be their maid of honor or their bridesmaid for them. You don't have to choose them just because they did it for you. So don't choose out of obligation. Choose because it's a person that you're close to now, and it's someone that you foresee being close to in the future. The next tip that I have that I really thought was good and hope to use in the future as well is be upfront about the expectations. So there are certain things that the person you ask is going to need to be willing to do. There's as far as buying their own dress and how much money you're kind of thinking that they're going to have to spend, and just give them that dollar amount. If it's you want them to buy a dress that's in the $100 to $150 range, they need to know that up front, because they may need to save money, or they might just know that that's not going to work for them. There's also maybe some time expectations that you have, as far as maybe you want them to help go pick out the dress, or you want them to go help with the cake tasting, and they're going to have to be able to give that time. And so if it's someone who they work 3 jobs and it's hard for them to have time off, they need to know that up front, because they need to then be upfront with you to say, well, I don't know if I can get the time off. Are you okay with that type of thing? So just make sure that they know what you expect, so that if there's any issues, you guys can talk about it. And this actually goes along with my next tip, which is be okay if they say no. They might just be, it's not really possible for me to spend that much money, or, because it's not just the dress, it's the bridal shower gift, it's the wedding gift, maybe it's travel. They might have to travel because they live out of state. So they might just say, I just don't think that I would be the best fit to be part of your wedding, and be okay with that. And maybe you're willing to make the compromise and say, well, I don't expect you to be at all these locations and all these events. And, you need to have the open communication to be able to talk about that freely with no hard feelings or anything like that. And my last tip, which is probably one of the most important, and although I haven't had my wedding yet, I know I'll probably need this tip, is don't stress. It's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be memorable, and it's not supposed to be just such a stressful time that you can't enjoy the process. So, pick people that you're close to, pick people that have been a support to you, that you have confided in, that you perceive being friends with for a long period of time, even after the wedding, so that they continue to support you through your marriage. And obviously some of those easy choices are family members, sisters, cousins, those are probably some of the first people you're going to think about on your side and also on your future husband's side. So big tip, don't stress, just have fun, and you don't have to make the decision right away. Just give it, make a list of who you think you'd like and give it a little time and just see how it goes, and make sure to have those open conversations. Choose responsible people. Don't choose because they had you in your wedding, so you should invite them to be in yours. You don't have to do that. So I hope these tips have helped you. If you want to learn more tips about how to choose your wedding party, you can go to inspiredweddingplanner.com/choosing. And I have 18 tips that will help you through this process.